What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the War Room. I'm Mistress Carrie. This is episode 318 of Cocktails in the War Room. And if you're wondering what the hell is going on in here right now, it is a full-blown pug battle royale to begin the show. I have been trying to wrangle these two for the last 10 to 15 minutes, and they have knocked every pillow off the couch, every toy underneath the table. It has been a full-on WWE, SmackDown, UFC title fight here in the War Room for like the last, I don't know, like 15 minutes while I've been getting stuff ready in here. They have been insane. So eventually they're going to be tired. For anybody that's new to the War Room, let me explain what the hell is going on. Every Tuesday night at 8:30, the War Room family, as they have dubbed themselves, meet right here in the room in my house that we call the War Room, where all of my family's military memorabilia is, where my stuff from my trips overseas in Iraq and Afghanistan is. And I think most importantly at this point is that's where the bar is. And so we started getting together here on March 14th of 2020. We rode out the pandemic every night together. And then when we launched the Mistress Carrie podcast, we turned Cocktails in the War Room into a weekly show. And part of the show is the Pug Cam, which I always set up so that you guys can spend some quality time with Wednesday and Friday, and that's where you can find them on Instagram at Wednesday the Goth Pug, which is Wednesday's Instagram. Friday has not proven herself to be responsible enough to have a social media profile as of yet. She just turned 1. We're gonna hold off for a little while and see what happens because she's very fresh. But these two have literally been fighting like this for, it seems like almost 30 minutes. They were wrestling like that before I got the War Room set up. And then when I started setting up everything in the War Room, it just spilled over. And this is what they have been like. I don't know if it's because they've been stuck in the house all day because it's raining again, but they have just been out of control. So this is what I've been dealing with right now. So thank you for joining me here in the War Room. If you're new to the War Room, you got to let us know where you're watching from and that it's your first time so that the War Room family can greet you properly. And for everybody else, as Keith says, what's up, fuckers? Thank you for hanging out with me every Tuesday night. The OG War Room family in full effect. Keith and Lisa, Brett, Annette, Bish, Kim and Jason, Tracy, Jonathan. Somebody said something about way to go, Marshy. So feel free to just let me know what's happening in the outside world while we're here in the War Room. I don't have the TV on in here, so I kind of rely on you guys for everything. I will let you know, because there are a lot of people, not just in New England, but around the country and around the world. There was no verdict in the Karen Read trial today, which means the jury is going to deliberate again tomorrow. Let's see. Glenn on Instagram says, watching from Columbus, Ohio, first time. Watching from Spencer, Mass, says Patty on Instagram. So what's up, guys? Thank you guys for hanging out with us. So basically, let me explain what the War Room is for anybody that doesn't know. So we get together every Tuesday night. We talk about music. We talk about new albums, tours. We talk about a little bit about what's going on in the world, because there are plenty of other places you can go for vile political discourse. We try to make this place an online support group through hard times, and a place where you can go for cheerleaders when you have good news as well, which is not something we get a lot of. And that's why 318 episodes later, we're still getting together every week here in the War Room, because there are a lot of things that we have weathered over the last 5 years getting together here in the War Room. Obviously the pandemic. There have been a lot of people that have battled illnesses and deaths. There have been a lot of divorces and marriages. There have been a lot of new additions to the family. There's been a lot of lost jobs and new careers. There have been a lot of people that have had house fires and have purchased new homes. And so it's basically life, right? And there are way too few places that you can go in this world to kind of support each other and an online group of strangers that are here because of some common threads, right? Obviously, you guys were all here because you know me, whether you like me or hate me, you know me, so you're here. You also must love music. On occasion, you obviously love pugs because there's a lot of that gets seen. A lot of pug butts get seen, but a lot of pugs. So if you're into pugs, this is a good place for you to hang out on Tuesday nights. But we have been through pretty much everything together. And every once in a while, and the hope is we're going to start doing this stuff more and more, volunteer opportunities. It's also a place for information dissemination or information trading, right? And that's one of the things that I wanted to talk to you guys about. If you have a Mistress Carrie Backstage Pass, you already know this. I didn't want to announce it publicly until all of the radio stations and everybody that I work with had been notified so they could properly make plans. But I wanted to let you guys know that I am going on a little trip. Mr. C and I have our 5th wedding anniversary coming up in August, which you guys were a part of in the early days of the War Room. My engagement, my wedding, obviously the loss of WAAF, the diagnosis of my mother's illness, finding out that my husband, back then boyfriend, was getting deployed again. So literally we've been through everything. So the fact that I'm getting ready to celebrate my 5th wedding anniversary is a little batshit crazy. And we couldn't travel on our actual anniversary, so we're going a little early. And so one of the things that I wanted to talk to you guys about, and I'm going to tell you that there are going to be way too comments in the comments section. So I am going to ask you that if you have advice or some travel tips, I'll say it that way, for me, that if you could go to mistresscarrie.com and click the message the studio button and send me information, itineraries, links, advice, things that you did that you loved, things that you did that you didn't love. I just want to know all about it. What am I talking about? Well, I brought a visual aid, and these screens are backwards, so I'm hoping that I'm raising it right. I'm going to Italy. Provided we don't have World War III between now and then, which is always a friggin' possibility, but I'm going to Rome. Backstage pass holders, oh, you're coming with me. But everybody, I'm taking you to Italy with me. I cannot wait. I can't give you all of the specifics on the trip yet because we have not yet booked everything. But I have never been. I am an American mutt. So my sister and I spent a lot of time, like a lot of other people did during COVID, doing genealogical research on our family tree. And our mom and dad came from very different backgrounds. My mom's family, we can trace back to 1630 in Plymouth, coming from English and then a little bit later Irish ancestry. My dad's side of the family, we discovered, it's actually kind of hilarious because we descend from islands on all ports, right? So there's the English and Irish side, which is my mother's side. The dominant culture that we were immersed in growing up was my dad's side of the family, which was Sicilian and what we thought was Portuguese. What we found out in our research later is that we're not just Portuguese, but Azorean. And so we're kind of descending from all of these islands. And so being raised in Italian culture, growing up in my grandfather's Italian bakery, I have always wanted to go to Italy. And I always imagined like trying to find a way to take like a couple months off and just going from the top of the boot to the bottom and then out to the island and to be able to do all of that. And what I have realized in my age and wisdom is that sometimes eating the elephant one bite at a time actually gets the elephant eaten. And so what we decided to do, we had an opportunity, a friend that lives there, has an apartment, and she has to travel for work for quite a bit this year. And so she offered to just let us stay in her apartment. So the idea that we didn't have to get a hotel, is amazing because it made the travel a lot easier. She lives in an apartment with a roof deck in downtown Rome. So we don't need to rent a car. We don't need to get a hotel. We can just kind of go there. And we also have someone that can tell us in the immediate vicinity of where she lives, places to go to get coffee in the morning or pastry, or where you can go hang out late night, and to have a roof deck where we can just kind of go. I just have this dream of like at night in the quiet, moon, stars, Rome on the roof deck with wine and meats, cheeses, and breads with Mr. C. Like, I don't need much in this world, but if I could have that, I am so good to go. So, that being said, I am in the midst of planning a logistics trip through Rome, making a list of the must-sees, obviously things like the Colosseum, the Trevi Fountain, the Vatican, the Sistine Chapel. Those kinds of things are absolutely must-dos on the list. But there are a lot of things that maybe people stumbled upon that would be really cool that maybe wouldn't be on an immediate Google search. Travis, do you like sardines? The answer is no. No, 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 no. I grew up around them, obviously, but do not enjoy them. I don't really eat seafood all that much. Coming from Sicily and from the Azores, like not eating seafood. Even on the English side of the family, the fish and chip side of the family, don't enjoy it at all. The good thing is Rome is known for its pasta. And so one of the things I'm definitely doing while I'm there, I've been researching it, is I want to go to a real authentic pasta making class. And what I've found is that a lot of restaurants that open for dinner do pasta classes during the day. And so definitely one of the things that I want to do is go and take a real pasta class. So I have been researching them and looking up because I want to be able to just go and really learn things the right way. And I have been told that the pasta in Rome is just second to none because it's really what they're known for. The cacio di pepe, like all of that kind of stuff. Cannot wait. So say hi Friday. Yes. You're going to have pug sitters when I'm gone. Yes. It's not going to be for a while, but I know. I can't take you with me. I know. You can just sit here on my lap. There you go. Good girl. Can't wait to see your pics when you go, says Jonathan. Jessica says that sounds like so much fun. Bish says, do not carry cash on your person. What's up, Alicia? Joining us on Instagram. Definitely go to the Vatican, Jen says. Let's see. They show boobies on cable TV there. Eric, I know that this is not your experience. And being a woman is not easy in this world a lot of the time. But I can see boobies whenever I want. I can just looked at boobies, just like that. So I can see them whenever I want. I'm not going all the way to Italy to look at boobies on TV. I can look at boobies anywhere. It's 2025. There's an unlimited supply of boobies on these. But yes, I can't wait to see the boobies on TV. Brett says, we will pug sit for you. What? I am moving, says Keith, because he wants to see the boobies on TV. Poor Keith can't just see boobies anytime he wants. I grew up with pasta hanging all over the house, says Carol. That's the thing, is that I want to go. I know how to make pasta. I have made pasta several times, making raviolis, cannolis, like all of that stuff. But I just want to go and really immerse myself. I want to go to a family-owned restaurant. I want to take a real pasta making class. One of the classes that I'm looking at, they teach you three things. They teach you how to make like noodles, like fettuccine and spaghetti and all of that stuff. They teach you how to make ravioli, and they teach you how to make tiramisu. It's like a 3-course thing. And I'm like, perfect. So that's what I'm looking at for that. Yell, are you not entertained at the Coliseum, says Bish. Do you think I'll be the only person doing that? Like, let's be the most obnoxious American on the planet. I was reading some stuff about how they like spot American tourists, and it was like cargo shorts, baseball hats, and that Americans speak louder in public with the people they're with than anyone else. And I'm like, even in Italy, I'm going to be considered loud? Like, really? Jonathan says, Carrie, did you hear about the passing of Chef Anne Burrell? I heard that she passed at 55 years old, but I did not see how she passed. I did not see a cause of death, which is really sad. Bob says, sorry I was late here, but where are you? Bob, I'm in the war room. Where am I going? Bob, I'm going to Italy. So for Backstage Pass holders, I am taking you guys with me. So there will definitely be a bunch of bonus content that's coming from Italy that you guys are going to be able to see. I am also working on logistics to try, because of the time change, and do the war room. We were able to pull it off from Abu Dhabi. I'm going to try and do the war room from Rome. I can't promise you it's going to work, but I am going to try and do the war room from Rome, which would be awesome to be able to take you guys with me. So we'll see what happens. No promises, but I wanted to let you guys know. And I am going to start compiling suggestions about like a to-do list of places to go. And then I want to start grouping them by regions around the city. People are like, oh, it's a short train ride to go to Pisa. No. This trip, we are doing Rome on foot. I had a friend that was just there that was talking about the e-bikes and that you can take them kind of everywhere. I just downloaded the app to be able to hail the Italian taxis, which you use kind of like an Uber style app to be able to do that. But when I say on foot, I mean, we're not flying to different parts of Italy. We're not getting on a train. We are going to fully immerse ourselves in Rome, see everything Rome has to offer, so that the next time we go to Italy, because there will be a next time, I'll go to a different part of Italy and do that. Let's see. Long flight, says Bob. Bob, I flew to South Africa. I flew to Kabul. I've flown to Baghdad. The long flight thing, it just is what it is. Make sure you have good Wi-Fi, or bring a really good international mobile data plan for your phone. I'm already researching the data plan for the phone for sure. Bar hopping for sure. Carrie, Johnny Gomes and Dave Ross say, hello, darling. Johnny's a hoe and David is old. Oh, Eric. Do you guys see what's happening behind me right now? There's like belly rubs happening back here because Friday just... Voorhees says we did 27,000 plus steps the day that we went to Rome. I'm expecting that. So one of the things I'm going to start doing is before I go, and I've really gotten out of the habit of it, just because there's been so much other stuff going on in my life. But the weather has not made it all that easy to do either. But one of the things that I definitely want to start doing is walking again before I go to Rome, because I do know that it's going to be a ridiculous amount of walking and I don't want to miss anything. I'm super excited to go. This has been a bucket list thing for me. And I just want to make sure that I am like wringing out every last drop of what I can experience in Rome. And I don't want... blisters and sore feet and sore muscles and that kind of stuff to ruin that for me. Jen says, they say Rome is beautiful. Yeah, my friend that lives there, she's American, but she lives in Rome and she has a really big studio apartment, which is basically like a really nice hotel with a kitchen and a roof deck, basically. So, and it has air conditioning, which I know we're going to need when we're going to be there because it's the hottest part of the year. So, War Room would be noon here, 8 hours ahead. No, I would do it East Coast time, which means I would stay up in the middle of the night so that you guys were on time. That's what I did in Abu Dhabi. It's what I would try to do in Rome. It's just a matter of, can I pull it off logistically? I got to make sure that the Wi-Fi and the internet is going to be good enough to be able to handle the HD streaming, and also based on when I'm going to be able to get there and the jet lag and everything, if I'm going to be able to be awake to do it. So, Eric says, don't walk behind the old priests. They are very slow. Wear comfortable shoes, says Jessica. MC going to Italy with Mr. C. Yeah, exactly. So I'm super excited. We have never been able to spend our anniversary together. This is going to be our 5th wedding anniversary coming up at the end of August. We've never spent an anniversary together. And I had always hoped that, hey, will you stop? That not every year on our anniversary, because it's just not financially feasible, but I had always hoped that, you know, like maybe every 5 years we would be able to go on some kind of anniversary trip together. And so, that's what we're doing this year. We're going a little early, a few weeks before our anniversary, but the ruins of Pompeii are a 2.5-hour drive from Rome. You got to fit that in. Stacy, that's the next trip. Like maybe when I go to Pisa and like all of that other stuff, I'll do Pompeii, but we're just going to focus on actual Rome because there's so much that we want to see just there. Don't worry about us. Enjoy your trip. We'll survive, says Will. I would love to be able to pull it off. So that's the hope. I want you guys to know I'm going into it with the best intentions. If I can't pull it off, you guys know that I tried. Play the Godfather theme walking around, says Bish. I know. I can't wait to see the real Italian culture versus the Americanized Italian culture that I grew up immersed in, which is, you know, what we have all experienced in the mafia movies, in a lot of ways, The Sopranos, growing up in my grandfather's bakery. You know, Americans that learn Italian here from their grandparents speak the bastardized version of Italian according to people that live in Italy. And so I'm really excited to be able to go, even though I'm not going to Sicily where my family is from. That's going to be a whole separate trip someday. But I'm really excited to be able to try and learn. I only grew up knowing the swears. So to be able to really start practicing Italian and to be able to try and put in an effort to be able to immerse myself in the language and at least be able to try some conversational Italian when I'm there, because it is something that has been on my bucket list, is to learn Italian. Like, it sucks that there was this belief when the families immigrated back then to completely assimilate to the point of losing your culture and your language. And so the language wasn't passed on. And I would love to have grown up being bilingual, but I can only swear. And they're the Americanized Italian swear words. So I don't even know if the swears I learned were right. So I'm pretty excited. I am hoping to be able to talk to everybody from Lacuna Coil, even though they're from Milan, so that they could maybe give me some tips before I go. I'm trying to get those guys on the show so that they can give me some tips about Italy and maybe give me some phrases, some Italian phrases to learn before I go. Let's see. Eric says, if you hear the song "Oh Fortuna," run. It's the Devil's theme. Let's see. I have not talked to Sully yet to tell him I'm going to Italy. His family comes from Sicily, like mine does. And so I'm not going to be anywhere near where his family is, but he spends a lot of time there. There's a family house there. So I'm super excited about it. I couldn't wait to tell you guys. So that's the plan. Rome is on the docket. And as soon as I have more details, I will let you guys know, but I also wanted to give you guys the opportunity to be able to start making suggestions on where I should go. So please go to mistresscarrie.com, click the message the studio button, like put Italy in the subject line so I know what you're messaging me about, and send me your suggestions, links, tours that you went on, restaurants that you ate at, you know, anything like that. Even if it's YouTube videos of cultural things, or there's a lot of content creators that are tour guides in Italy that put up, you know, short TikTok videos and stuff, all of that stuff. Send whatever you want to send me, just send it that way. So if you're hanging out with me here in the War Room and you're wondering where you can hear me on the radio, I want to run down the stations really quick. All of the links and information on all of this is at mistresscarrie.com. But every weekday from 10 to 3, you can hear me on 98 Rock, Charleston's best rock in Charleston, South Carolina. stream the station at my98rock.com, or you can download the app off the website, but that's every weekday from 10 to 3. And the lunch hour is different every day. We call it the 98 Rock Lunchbox. And so the hour is filled with music from the same year, the same theme. Today's theme was UK bands. Yesterday, we celebrated songs that were released in 1999. So it's just different every day. Every weekday from 3 to 7, you can hear me on 100 FM, The Pike in Worcester, Massachusetts. Download the Pike app at pikefm.com or stream the station. And some of the big shows that are coming for the year, the Hair Fest at Indian Ranch, Grunge Fest at Indian Ranch, and also Rock Fest at Indian Ranch. All of these shows are up on the concert calendar at mistresscarrie.com, but you can hear me every weekday afternoon at 3. And this week on the Pike, by the way, I have From Ashes to New tickets to see him at Big Night Live to give away. And all this week, we're giving away Shinedown tickets for the Pike concert season pass giveaways. So if you want to win Shinedown tickets, make sure you're listening to the Pike all day, every day. You never know when we're going to have stuff to give away. You can hear me every weekday from 3 to 7 on 106.3 The Bone in Portland, Maine. Download the Bone app, or just stream the station at 1063thebone.com. And here we have a bunch of tickets to give away. We're giving away an overnight trip in Portland with hotel dinner reservations to go and see Sleep Theory at the State Theater on Sunday. We're giving away tickets this week for Poutine Fest, the Maine Poutine Fest. Those tickets go on sale Saturday morning at 10 a.m. So there's a bunch of different stuff that we're giving away. And then the most recent station added to the lineup, Mornings with Mistress Carrie, weekdays from 6 to 10 a.m. on 99.3 and 98.5 in Springfield, Mass. And you can hear the 90s at 9 every weekday morning at 9 a.m. So there is a bunch of places that you can listen. All the links are at mistresscarrie.com. So there you go. Some events so that you guys know what's going on. Most recently, coming up July 12th, the Scout Sniper Association 3rd Annual Veterans Skydive Boogie is happening at Jumptown Skydiving. If you are a veteran, go to the concert and events calendar at mistresscarrie.com. Go to July 12th. All the details are there. The link to book your tandem skydive at a veteran's discount is there. And also the details on the official after party at Red Apple Farm later on that afternoon. It is going to be a Hogs Call that is sponsored by the Scout Sniper Association. So that's coming up on July 12th. I am going to be there to host the whole thing. And also coming up on September 20th, you can join me at the Johnny Appleseed Festival in downtown Leominster. Let's see. Okay, cocktail recipe. So hold on, let me sip my cocktail first of all. Moscow Mule, copper mug. Actually, I slacked today and didn't pick out a cocktail recipe. So hold on, I'm going to stick my finger in the book and see. All right, here we go. This one is called the Dodge. 2 ounces of gin, 2 ounces of Cointreau, and a dash of white grape juice. Shake the ingredients, strain into a martini glass, and serve. So that's called a Dodge. It is equal parts gin and Cointreau and a dash of white grape juice. Shake the ingredients and then strain into a martini glass and serve. Now, we're always talking about garnishes and different ways to kind of jazz up these drinks. First of all, put purple grape juice in there and make this drink purple. That's A. B, obviously you could put grapes in there, maybe a sugared rim on this if you wanted to kind of sweeten up the gin a little bit. Maybe a little mint might be good, but that's called the Dodge. So we try to go through a different cocktail and give some mixology suggestions every Tuesday night here in the War Room. Let me catch up on the comments. Let's see. Eric says, excuse me, you're putting your finger where? Stick your finger where, says Jonathan. Jen says, Jumptown is right behind my house. We see them jumping from the backyard. Well, Jen, come and hang out with us. Hillary on Instagram says, Mistress Carrie, I kindly request your permission to steal Mike Shue's nickname, the Weenie Whisperer. Do I have your consent? I can't consent to anyone stealing anything from Mike Shue. The Weenie Whisperer is kind of hilarious, but I can't give anybody permission to steal something that's not mine. So if you want to steal the Weenie Whisperer, you're going to have to ask Mike Shue directly. I apologize, Hillary. That's just the way that it is. I love Mike too much. He and I go way too far back to be able to give people permission to steal his nicknames. So, Dina on Facebook. What's up, Dina? Glenda Jane on Instagram says, I'm a DJ at the Blitz and my husband is retired Army. So glad I found this. So Glenda, we do this every Tuesday night. We get together. It's like an Ask Me Anything. A lot of musicians do the AMAs where they'll say, hey, for the next half hour, tweet me your questions or comment your questions on Instagram and I'll answer them or whatever. But we just do this every week so that we can talk about whatever's going on. Me going to Rome, new albums that are coming out, which we're going to run down that list on the way. Grape Fun Dip on the Rim. Donna, you sassy minx. That sounds delicious. Hillary says, can you put in a good word? Of course I'll put in a good word. But if you want to steal the Weenie Whisperer from Mike Shue, you can't sneak up behind him. You got to just face to face ask him if you can have it. Dina says, still sporting the WAF banner down at the buffer zone FKR. Wait, what does that mean, Dina, exactly? Let's see. Eric says, it's like therapy. We just leave more fucked up than when we entered. Basically. All right, so let's talk about the podcast this week, guys. So the first thing we want to do is recap last week's podcast episode. So last week, Keith Wallen from Breaking Benjamin joined me on the show again to not only talk about the progress of the new Breaking Benjamin album, but also to talk about his solo music. So he's going to be at the Palladium in Worcester on August 1st on his solo tour. And then, of course, Breaking Benjamin is going to be touring with 3 Days Grace later this year. Hold, please. Remember I told you guys that these psycho pugs were going to turn into the napping pugs? We have reached the napping pug portion of tonight's program. So if you hear snoring later, you know why. So that's episode 262. That was Keith Wallen from Breaking Benjamin last week. This week, Pat Badger is giving us a Pat trick. That was one of the things that we joked about on the show. His third appearance on the show. He was on episode 107. He was featured on a bonus episode as well. And now Pat is back from Extreme and his Eagles tribute band, the Dark Desert Eagles, to talk about touring with Extreme. I'm talking about the video for the Extreme song, Small Town Beautiful. You guys will hear that. I told you guys about it a while ago, but I want to leave that for you guys to hear. But we just talked about all kinds of stuff. We talked about travel. Actually, he and I talked about my trip to Rome because we recorded the interview right before Father's Day. So we were talking about what makes a great Father's Day. We talked about what touring bands do on their days off because obviously everybody does something a little different, right? We talked to John Connolly from Seven Dust who trains for triathlons on his days off when he's out on the road. There are other people, I think Lawrence Gowan from Styx told me that he goes vinyl shopping. He goes and finds really cool vinyl shops on days off on tour and goes looking for like collectible vinyls. And Pat Badger told me what he does when he is on a day off on the road, which I will let you hear on this week's episode. So episode 263 of the Mistress Carrie podcast comes out at midnight tonight, featuring Pat Badger from Extreme and the Dark Desert Eagles. Let's see. Are those pugs snoring? Yes, they are. Coming from, let's see. Wait. Who the fuck is running, says Keith? John Connolly from Seven Dust goes running, training for marathons when he was on the show talking about training for the Boston Marathon. On days off and even the mornings of a Seven Dust show, he goes running or swimming or biking, depending on where they are, because he's a triathlete. Crazy. All right. If you subscribe to the Mistress Carrie podcast, not only do you get the weekly episodes every Wednesdays, you never know when there's going to be a bonus episode. Last Friday, we dropped a bonus episode with our friends from Veterans Inc. in Worcester, Massachusetts, talking about their annual stand down with a lot of information on resources that you can get access to if you're a veteran at Veterans Inc., which is in a bunch of different places, not just Worcester. So if you didn't catch up on that bonus episode of the podcast, that came out on Friday. But you also get the sit rep every weekday. It's like 5, 6, 7 minutes long, runs down all of the stories that are happening in music news and entertainment news, headlines, rock news specifically, obviously. But the sit rep you get every Monday through Friday. Where to listen to the podcast? The answer is everywhere. So all of the big podcast apps, it's part of the Pantheon Podcast Network. You can listen to every episode on YouTube. And also the easiest thing is just go to mistresscarrie.com and pick the episode you want to listen to. 149 countries and holding strong. We already have Italy listening to the Mistress Carrie podcast, but I'm going to try and win over some more fans of the podcast when I am in Rome on my vacation. Birthdays today. Jello Biafra and Barry Manilow. So we go from the dead Kennedys to Barry Manilow's Copacabana in birthdays today. And yes, we're still kind of celebrating. Hold on, let me turn our camera back on. Friday's first birthday. There we go. It looks like Wednesday is like passed out drunk, holding on to her pup claw over there. And Friday is just completely assed out altogether. So, yeah. Friday just turned 1, which is amazing. I've told her now that the expectation that she starts acting like a big girl, that's expected. All right, let's talk about what's going on in music headlines. So did you guys watch the Warped Tour? It was hosted by Lilith Czar over the weekend, which I thought was really, really cool. Sublime was part of the live stream. So they're doing 3 big 30th anniversary weekend Warped Tours. The closest one was Washington, D.C., which is where that streamed from this weekend. But I thought it was really cool that Lilith Czar hosted it. I was able to see some of the interviews that she did backstage, but it was a free live stream, which I thought was awesome. This live stream, not so free. So backtothebeginning.com is where you can go to get all the information on the upcoming final gig for Black Sabbath and Ozzy. And you can get the tickets for the live stream. That starts at 10 a.m. on July 5th. It's going to be, they're expecting 10 hours long, hosted by Jason Momoa. If you spend the $60-something, you get the commemorative t-shirt and access to the live stream for what I believe is the entire weekend, so that you can watch it at your leisure if you can't sit down and focus for the whole 10 hours. And then they're going to pull the stream access after that, and then they'll probably release it as some kind of big box set, because all of this money is getting donated to charity, and the charity information is also up on the website. Some interesting Ozzy things that have come out. Ozzy is going to be the subject of a new book that's coming out in July called Where's Ozzy? That's kind of like Where's Waldo? And that book is coming out fully authorized by Ozzy. And also Death Wish. Is it Death Wish? Yeah. The company that makes the canned water at all the concerts is coming out with limited edition iced tea in cans that contain Ozzy's DNA with Ozzy's permission. And basically Ozzy released a statement that said, basically, clone me, fuckers. Like, go ahead. So I thought that was kind of interesting as well. Happy birthday. Oh, I'm sorry. Happy unbirthday, Keith. I got so busy talking about Friday's responsibilities as a 1-year-old that I totally forgot to celebrate your unbirthday. So, happy unbirthday. And Ash, it's your birthday too, right? Keith says, happy birthday. What did you get me? Pants, says Jen. Oh my God. Jonathan says, I don't want anyone's DNA. Trust me, I know. I thought it was weird. There are albums that have been pressed, like actual vinyl, that have like the musician's blood inside. We're just getting into bodily fluids. James Hetfield, if you go to MetallicaLogoGenerator.com, because they just reissued Load last Friday, Metallica set up a website where you can actually get your name put on the album cover for Load. And James Hetfield gave an interview. It's really funny. He was talking about how he likes the cover of Reload better than Load, and that he thinks the bubbles, this is what he said, the bubbles on the cover of Load are gross. So we all know what the cover of Metallica's Load is. And so I thought that was kind of gross. James Hetfield, speaking of DNA, was given one of those silver bullets with Lemmy from Motorhead's Ashes. There have been a bunch of musicians that have come out that posthumously, Lemmy left instructions that after he died and was cremated and his ashes interred at Forest Lawn Cemetery, that not all of his ashes be there. Some of his ashes just got put into a statue in his hometown in England. And then other people like Rob Halford from Judas Priest and James Hetfield were gifted solid silver bullets that are engraved that have Lemmy's ashes in them. And James Hetfield, who's grossed out about the bubbles on the Load album cover, took some of Lemmy's ashes, put it in tattoo ink, and tattooed a black spade right here on his finger so that Lemmy could give the finger for the rest of eternity. But Lemmy's ashes are in James Hetfield's finger. Talking about sharing bodily fluids and DNA. Are we going to sing happy unbirthday to Keith? Please keep your DNA out of my tea. You said Load, says Bish. They can go to the dictionary. Jason says, I love Elvis Presley, but I sure as hell don't want his DNA. Look, I get it. But this is just something that we also, did you guys hear about the Billy Idol story, which is the other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about? It came out a lot last week because his documentary, Billy Idol Should Be Dead, debuted at the Tribeca Film Festival the same week that the Metallica documentary, Metallica Saved My Life, came out. And in the documentary, Billy Idol discusses finding out that he had a love child that was born in New York, that was fathered in the United States in 1985 during the Rebel Yell tour. Now, speaking of bodily fluids, right? So Billy Idol has a daughter and a son, I believe from two different moms, but he's been very active in their upbringing. His daughter got married and had a baby and was curious about the family's history. So she got a 23andMe kit from her husband for Christmas, and she sent in her DNA, and a few weeks later she got the results and it matched her with a sibling. And she was like, who the hell is this guy? Well, come to find out, Brant is Billy Idol's love child, and it all checked out that Billy Idol spent the weekend with this woman. Brant thought that his dad was someone else like his whole life, kind of like Liv Tyler did with Steven Tyler. And then found out after I don't know if the dad died or something, that wasn't the dad at all. And then he found out that he's Billy Idol's kid, which is just insane. And so he's part of the family now. When Billy Idol got his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, at the beginning of the year, that son was there. He has been embraced by the whole family. And it's one of those happily ever after stories, kind of like Liv Tyler with Steven Tyler, finding out much later that that's who her dad was because she didn't know growing up. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Hillary says, Load was my first CD after cassettes. I don't think my mom knew that album cover is blood and, well, you know what I mean. Yeah. Eric says, Diddy had freak-offs and Ozzy has, I don't think they're jizz drinks, Eric. I don't think that's where the DNA came from. I think they spun DNA out of something. I don't think he into the iced tea. I don't think that's where the DNA came from, but we are truly living in the year 3000, says Eric. Yeah, it's a little bit of everything. Look, everybody keep their DNA to themselves unless it's consensual. Then trade DNA at rando if that's what you want. All right, let's run through a bunch of concert listings because a few shows got added that I want to tell you guys about. Shinedown Bush and Morgan Wade coming up on the 19th of July at the Garden, followed by Linkin Park, Ghost, Stevie Nicks, Nine Inch Nails, Eric Clapton, and Bryan Adams. A reminder that all of this concert info is up on the concert calendar at mistresscarrie.com. The DCU Center is hosting the Silver Scream Con in the Convention Center September 12th through the 14th. In the middle of that, Ice Nine Kills is taking over the DCU Arena, and Dayseeker, The Funeral Portrait, all of those guys are opening up for Ice Nine Kills. Those tickets are on sale, and Sleep Token, September 23rd, that show is completely sold out. Life of a Rock Star. Hey, Dad, I'm your kid. I know, and the fact that, like, he didn't seek out Billy Idol, right? Like, how many times has somebody accused Billy Idol of being their dad? This guy just gets pinged because Billy Idol's daughter sent her DNA to 23andMe, which I thought was just crazy. Big Night Live has got Everclear, Local H, and Sponge celebrating the 30th anniversary of Sparkle and Fade on October 21st. And this show just got announced for November 6th, From Ashes to New. I'm giving away tickets to this show all week long on 100 FM The Pike in Worcester this week. So if you want to win those tickets, there you go. What's up, Donald? Thank you for hanging out with us in the War Room here on Facebook. Good night, Mr. Voorhees. Sleep well. Okay, so hold on. Maybe I had it wrong, Denise. It says, I was listening to Eddie Trunk today, and it sounded like the Death Water was selling empty cans that Ozzy drank out of for $450. Oh. The way I read the article is that they put his DNA in the iced tea. Well, that makes more sense. If they're selling empty iced tea cans that he just drank out of that you could swab for DNA. Okay, that makes more sense, but is that 100%? Eddie Trunk would know, obviously, but I definitely did not read that article the same way that you're saying it happened. So, but makes sense. The Xfinity Center has got Styx coming up. Also, Rod Stewart with Cheap Trick, The Offspring with Jimmy Eat World and Newfound Glory, Volbeat, Hailstorm, and The Ghost Inside, the Doobie Brothers, Billy Idol, and Joan Jett, Breaking Benjamin, and 3 Days Grace, Falling in Reverse. By the way, these local shows for Falling in Reverse, Dan Laskowitz, DL from Bad Wolves, is playing bass for Falling in Reverse right now. So when they come into New England, especially at the Xfinity Theater in Hartford and the Xfinity Center in Mansfield, those are going to be like hometown shows for DL, which is pretty cool. And Papa Roach with Rise Against and Under Oath. So all of those shows headed to the Xfinity Center in Mansfield. Also, this coming up this weekend, on Thursday, Sleep Theory at the Sinclair in Harvard Square, Baby Metal at Mohegan, Incubus at Mohegan, Weird Al, Coldplay, Def Leppard, David Lee Roth at Hampton, Sully's solo show at the Mohegan Sun Patio in September, George Thorogood at the Lynn Auditorium, and Bryan Adams at Mohegan Sun as well. Christopher Cross, Toto, and Men at Work at the Leader Bank Pavilion, as well as the Goo Goo Dolls and Chicago. So all of that is coming up. Donald says in the midnight hour, Billy was producing kids. Yeah, probably all night long, too. The Fenway Concert Series, hopefully these shows are going to go off without a hitch with a safe stage, unlike the Shakira show that got canceled because the stage didn't pass inspection. My Chemical Romance with Idols, the Lumineers, and also The Who with the Joe Perry Project opening up. Annette says, that's better, but I'm still not buying Ozzy's DNA. Did the Foo Fighters get a new drummer yet? Well, they've got a half a dozen shows scheduled for later this year, including the F1 race in Singapore, but they have not made a public disclosure about who is going to be either permanently replacing or just being a touring drummer. And maybe they're not going to name a full-fledged member of the band drummer again, because Dave plays the drums on a lot of the Foo Fighters stuff anyway. So I don't know. Dave played the drums, I believe, on the last album and played obviously everything on the early albums. So Hillary says, if anyone hasn't seen a Papa Roach show, they really should. Jacoby brings full energy every time that he's in the arena. Yeah, and this is going to be a big tour for Papa Roach because it's their 25th anniversary. So that tour that they're doing with Rise Against and Under Oath is going to be huge. So there you go. All right, so that's Fenway. Then there's the Palladium in this moment coming up in August. Mushroomhead, Atreyu. Poppy just announced fall North American headlining dates. That includes September 2nd at the Palladium. Those Poppy tickets go on sale this Friday at 10 a.m. And then, of course, the New England Metal and Hardcore Festival that's going to be at the Palladium outdoors. Roadrunner has got Dinosaur Jr. coming up next month and also Garbage in September. And the MGM Music Hall at Fenway. The Pixies, also the Black Keys, Chevelle, Alabama Shakes, Seether and Daughtry, and Mudvayne, Static X. That's in October. The one show that's missing out of here is the 617 Rocks benefit that's happening August 1st. That is going to feature Bret Michaels and Stephen Pearcy from Rat and Vince Neil. So I got to get that show is up on the concert calendar, but for some reason it's not up here. And I just noticed that one was missing. So and the House of Blues coming up on the 19th, Less Than Jake. Architects in August, Bruce Dickinson in September, Avatar in November, and Nothing More next February. Maybe Shane Hawkins will be the new drummer. There's a lot of rumors that could be who they name, which is Taylor Hawkins' teenage son. He's been playing with Taylor's band Chevy Metal, so who knows? So yeah, they're going to need a drummer eventually. Dave can't play guitar, sing, and play the drums at the same time. At least I don't think so. And Anne Berlin is going to be at the Paradise Rock Club coming up on August 10th. City Winery, waiting for some updated concert announcements for those guys. And also the stage at Suffolk Downs. That is going to be Slightly Stupid, Turnstile, Iggy Pop, and the Big Session 2-day Irish Music and Culture Festival that's being headlined by the Dropkick Murphys and the Pogues. New music coming out on Friday includes Greg Allman's The Greg Allman Band, One Night in D.C., May 15th, 1984, and also the new Youngblood album, Idols, is coming out. Okay, so mail call tonight. First of all, Carol, I did get your biscottis. You really need to open a bakery and you really need to start selling your biscottis because your pistachio biscottis are to die for. When you send them to me, I immediately go and pick them up and then I immediately portion them out and then I freeze them so that I can take them out little by little if it's just going to be like me or like me if my sister's here. But then if I'm having company or like house guests, I'll take out more. But I literally like ration them because they're freaking delicious. And having them with my morning coffee is like amazing. She also sent me some of these, which I thought was amazing. So knowing that not only do I, but also Mr. C collect guitar picks. So these are awesome. I don't know where you got them, but they're really cool. She sent them in a little baggie. So Carol, thank you for the biscottis and thank you for the guitar picks. They are awesome. And yeah, I may have eaten 1.5 biscottis driving home from the post office because I knew when I saw your return address, I knew what they were. And I was like, oh, I'm opening those fuckers before I get home. I can't be trusted. You guys know this. And oh, by the way, now I have 2 pugs, one here and one here because it's mail call. And the other thing that we got says, oh, that's pretty. Says, hey, Mistress Carrie, here are a few things for you Wednesday and Friday and some rubber ducks for your collection, some skeleton devil horns. I wish they had silver instead of gold, but they didn't. And a bracelet for your for an amazing Facebook group called Women Who Love Hard Rock and Beer, and some peanut butter cups for Wednesday and Friday. I hope you enjoy it, Alexis and Jason. Thank you. All right, so let's see what's in here. So first of all, Thank you. You guys know that I collect rubber ducks, but that my mom collected nurses. When my mom passed away and we had her services, we took everybody that was really close to my mother, family, really close friends, my sister and I obviously took the ones out of her collection that were sentimental that we wanted to keep. And then we set up a table at the funeral home because she had hundreds of them. Everything from like really expensive, collectible, like precious moments, like statues like that, to stuff like this. And we told everybody that came to my mom's services to take the one that reminded them of our mom. And so what's amazing is we randomly get pictures because people have put these statues on their mantles and on windowsills. And every once in a while, someone will just take a picture of one of mom's statues and send it to my sister and I and say, just kind of thinking about your mom. So the fact that you bought a nurse duck from my collection in the bathroom of my rubber duckies and that it's a nurse is kind of amazing. So thank you. And you do your homework knowing that my dad was a firefighter. And so now I have both parents represented in rubber duck effigy in the bathroom, which is amazing. There is also the Marine rubber duck, Mr. C, obviously. I don't know where you guys find this stuff, but it's kind of amazing. Okay, so there is a little celebratory beer for the dogs. So I'm going to take that plastic thing out. Friday. Where'd you go? Do you want to have a new toy? You can have that one because Wednesday can have this one. Wednesday, do you want some Reese's? You want this one? Say thank you. Hold on. Let me turn the camera on. Isn't this nice? Do you want that? Do you want this one? Do you want this one? Or do you want the Reese's? Which one do you want? When I tell you that they play with every single toy that you guys send to them, it's not even a joke. Every single one. We lose on average about a toy a week because of the tug of war that they play. But they do play with them all. Oh, the bracelet you were talking about. Hold on. This is awesome. Very cool. Oh, I like that it has the skulls on it too. And hold on. Oh, how cool are these? Yes, I understand that they did not have silver. That would have been cool, or purple or whatever, but these are freaking badass. Thank you. Girls, say thank you for your new toys. Let me put that. Where am I going to put this box? Put that over there. Rachel says Carol should get a cottage license so we can buy her biscottis. Yeah, you guys, like, Carol, you just start going, just go into business and make biscottis, will you please? You and Denise's mom, will you just go into business together and make, like, have you guys seen that movie about the Nonas, the restaurant that opened, I think, in Staten Island, where they just hired Italian grandmothers to just cook? Like, it should just be a store where, like, everybody's, like, making different biscottis and they all just get sent there and they're all made by, like, little Italian ladies and stuff. It's just awesome. Keith says you have the toys backwards. Friday is too young for the beer. Okay, fine. She wants the Reese's anyway because it's crinkly. There you go. Do you want that? There you go. Wednesday, you can have the beer. It's okay. Hold on, I'm going to put your camera back on. Yeah. Do you want the Reese's? Yeah. I know. Are you trying to share with your sister? Oh, Wednesday. Good girl. Good girl. You guys are so good. When you want to be good, and other times you're complete psychopaths. All right. So thank you guys for the wonderful stuff in the post office. And everybody at the post office says hi. When I go down there to pick up the stuff, they're like, make sure you tell everybody we said hi. I am in the proof approval process of new I Rode with Mistress Carrie helmet stickers and property of Mistress Carrie bumper stickers. So that is moving forward. So we're working on it. We're gonna have them this summer. Also, Backstage Pass holders, obviously, you guys know about the Italy trip. I'm going to be taking you guys with me. You get a private exclusive monthly live stream, podcast interview submissions, the question submissions when you find out who's going to be on the podcast, travel blog updates. Obviously, I'm going to be taking you guys with me to Rome. Early access to event information and exclusive concert ticket giveaways. Right now, you've got access to Ghost tickets, Summer of Loud tickets, and Pantera tickets. So if you do not have a Mistress Carrie Backstage Pass, you can get one on Patreon. Just click the Patreon link at mistresscarrie.com or just go to patreon.com and search Mistress Carrie. Either way, you can get one. Hi. Friday, are you getting sleepy? And just a reminder of all the different places that you can track me down on social media and all of the radio stations and radio station apps that you can download to listen, depending on where you are or depending on what kind of rock you like. More classic rock, more mainstream rock, harder rock, metal, whatever it is. The different radio stations have different formats, so it's a little bit of everything. And a reminder to join the Mistress Carrie Veterans Rock Group on Facebook. We're at about 3,200 members right now. It is an open forum, moderated, but an open forum to swap information on resources. And it's a great place to network. It's a great place to find volunteer opportunities, nonprofit information. If you are a civilian looking to support veterans, there's plenty of opportunities there. If you're a veteran-owned business looking to promote yourself, or if you're a business looking to hire veterans, it's a great place to post job openings because there are a lot of veterans that are on this page, but there's also a lot of veteran supporters that follow this page. And when I talked to everybody at Veterans Inc. last week, they were like, we love that group that you put together because every time we're having an event or something, we post it up there and people come and say, I found out about this because I'm a member of Mistress Carrie's Veterans Group on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook, just search Mistress Carrie's Veterans Rock Group and then you can just follow along. You can post your own stuff, but obviously it is veteran content specific. So there you go. Donald says in dog years, she's old enough for a brew. Well, in dog years, she's only 7. In people years, she's only 1. So she's not quite old enough for a beer yet. The drumsticks are still in the ether. I'm not exactly sure what's going on with it. I've been promised they were going to happen. I just don't have an update, Keith. So I apologize for that. Oh, everybody wish Bish a good luck. He is running in the 10K for Brigham and Women's Hospital on Sunday in Boston. So good luck, Bish. You running machine, you. Making us proud. All right, hold on. One more look. Oh, did you find out we were looking at you Friday? Hold on. Let me go this way. Go this way and I'll rub your belly. Oh. There you go. Wednesday's passed out too. So the pugs are tuckered out. When they start snoring, you know the show's almost over. So there you go. So that's the Veterans Rock Group. And don't forget all of the details on the Scout Sniper Association 3rd Annual Veteran Skydive Boogie that's happening with the Hog Call after party at Red Apple Farm starting at 5 p.m. So all the details are up there. Let's see. Did you see my comment about I thought you were hacked? Yeah, there have been a couple of fake profiles that have been started up on Facebook. And if you look at them close, you can tell it's not me, but they stole my logos. So anytime you guys know, you can tell by the follower count which page is really mine. And if you guys wouldn't mind reporting any false accounts that you guys see pop up, they steal my pictures, they steal my artwork, they steal my logos. but it's all bullshit. Rachel says roly-poly puggles. I know. That they're just living life, man. If you live a good life in this life, get reincarnated as a pug at my house in your next life, and your next life is going to be perfect. All right, guys, that's it. Don't forget episode 263 of the podcast featuring Pat Badger from Extreme goes live at midnight tonight. Good luck to Bish this weekend. And keep the info about Italy and Rome specifically coming. Just hit the message the studio page at mistresscarrie.com. All right, guys, I'll see you guys next week. Good night.